Ladies, let me tell you something. When a man does you wrong, the best thing you can do is confuse him. And I'm not talking about sending mixed signals or playing mind games. No, I'm talking about moving in a way he never saw coming. See, men are used to women reacting emotionally when they mess up. They expect tears, yelling, long texts, maybe even a dramatic social media post. That's what they're prepared for. But what they're not ready for is a woman who moves with grace, silence, and self-control. That right there will throw a man completely off his game. When a man hurts you, the natural instinct is to respond with emotion, and I understand that. You're upset, you feel betrayed, and you want him to know how deeply he's hurt you. But here's the truth. Giving him that reaction gives him power. It tells him he still has control over your emotions. And the moment a man realizes he can push your buttons and make you react, he knows he still holds you in the palm of his hand. That's why the real move, the powerful move, is to respond, not react. There's a difference. Reacting is instant, emotional, and unfiltered. Responding is controlled, intentional, and powerful. Instead of arguing, you choose silence. Instead of writing him a paragraph about your pain, you let your absence speak for itself. Instead of proving your worth, you remember your worth and carry yourself like a woman who refuses to be disrespected. And let me tell you something about men. They're not built to handle that kind of energy. A man can handle yelling. He can handle tears. He can handle arguments. Because that means you still care enough to fight. But what shakes a man to his core is a woman who removes herself from the nonsense and carries on with dignity. That woman becomes unpredictable. That woman becomes a mystery. That woman becomes powerful. Imagine this. He calls or texts you after hurting you, expecting the usual argument, but instead you respond calmly. I appreciate the clarity you've given me. Take care. Then you move on. No chasing, no questioning, no begging for closure. You let him sit with that silence. You let him wonder how you walked away so easily. You let him overthink while you focus on you. Because here's the truth. Men learn through experience, not explanation. You don't have to tell him what he did wrong 100 times. You don't have to prove your worth to make him see it. The moment he realizes you're not reacting, not engaging, but elevating, that's when it hits him. That's when he starts thinking, did I just lose something great? And believe me, that lesson cuts deeper than any argument ever could. When a man expects you to crumble after he's hurt you, he's already convinced himself that you needed him more than he needed you. He assumes his absence will break you, that you'll fall apart, that you'll wait around for his return. But what he never expects is for you to rise higher, to become an even stronger, wiser, and more radiant version of yourself without him. That's why the best thing you can do is focus on your glow up instead of getting caught up in the pain he caused. See, men operate on ego. They believe they're the center of your world. And when they walk away or do you wrong, they expect to see proof that their absence left a hole in your life. That's why they stalk your social media, ask mutual friends how you're doing, or suddenly pop back up with that. Just checking in, text. They're looking for signs that you miss them, that you're still hurt, that you're still waiting. But when a man checks up on you and sees that you're thriving instead of suffering, that confuses him like nothing else. This is why you don't waste time trying to make a man regret losing you. You simply make sure that when he looks in your direction, he sees a woman who has leveled up. Work on yourself, hit the gym. Not because you need revenge, but because you love yourself enough to care for your body. Chase your dreams with passion, not to make him jealous, but because your future deserves that energy. Upgrade your style, refine your confidence, and surround yourself with people who remind you of your value. Because when you invest in yourself, when you pour into your own growth, you naturally become the kind of woman who commands respect without saying a word. And here's what happens. When you glow up, suddenly he starts remembering why he was drawn to you in the first place. He starts realizing he took something rare for granted. And it's not just about how you look, it's about the energy you carry. A woman who knows her worth walks differently. She speaks differently. She doesn't beg for love. She attracts it effortlessly. And when he sees that you've completely detached from the idea that he was ever necessary for your happiness, he won't know what to do with himself. That's the power of the glow up. It's not about him. It's about you. It's about choosing to elevate rather than sink into pain. It's about proving to yourself, not to him, that you are more than enough on your own. Because the truth is, nothing is more magnetic than a woman who is unbothered, unapologetic, and unstoppable in her pursuit of a better life. And when a man finally realizes that he was never the source of your joy in the first place, that's when he truly understands what he lost. Men expect drama. They expect anger. They expect a reaction that tells them they still have a grip on your emotions. That's why when a man does you wrong, the most powerful move you can make is to choose peace. Not out of weakness, not because you're avoiding confrontation, but because peace is the one thing he isn't prepared to handle. When you stay calm in the face of disrespect, when you refuse to feed into the chaos he tried to bring into your life, that's when your silence becomes your strength. It does something to a man's mind. It forces him to question himself. See, men don't sit and reflect when you're yelling at them. They don't suddenly realize their mistakes while you're pouring out long paragraphs explaining your pain. But when you step back, when you detach, when you stop engaging altogether, that silence becomes a mirror. It forces him to face himself. He has no choice but to sit with the weight of his own actions. A man will always remember the woman who walked away with dignity, not the one who begged, not the one who argued, not the one who tried to make him see her worth, but the one who simply removed herself and let her absence do the talking. Because peace is unsettling to a man who thrives on control. When he can no longer pull you into his chaos, when he sees that you're not chasing him for closure, he starts to lose his grip. Nothing confuses a man more than realizing he no longer has access to the emotions he once played with. When you choose peace, you shift the dynamic. Instead of reacting, you move with intention. Instead of proving your worth to him, you remember your worth for yourself. And when you do that, something powerful happens. You free yourself. You stop carrying the burden of trying to change a man who was never willing to change. You stop giving energy to someone who took you for granted. You redirect that energy back into your healing, your growth, and your happiness. And here's the thing. When a man sees that you found peace without him, it makes him question everything. He starts to wonder why you're not angry, why you're not fighting, why you're not trying to get his attention. And that's when it hits him. You've moved on. You've found something greater than his validation. You've found yourself. Choosing peace doesn't mean you didn't care, and it doesn't mean you weren't hurt. It means you respect yourself enough not to let someone else's actions steal your joy. It means you trust that what's meant for you will never require you to beg, chase, or compromise your dignity. When you master that, you become untouchable. Because a peaceful woman is a woman who no longer allows anyone to disrupt the love she has for herself. When a man does you wrong, the instinct is to prove a point, to show him what he lost, to make him see his mistake. But the truth is, you don't need to prove your worth to someone who failed to value it in the first place. The real power move is to walk away like you were never faced and let your life speak for itself. Because distance, that's the loudest message you can ever send. When a man thinks he still has a hold on you, he looks for signs that you're struggling without him. He watches to see if you're still talking about him, if you're stalking his page, if you're asking mutual friends about him. And the second he senses that energy, he knows he still has space in your heart. But when he gets nothing, no anger, no begging, no desperate attempts to keep him in your life, that's when silence becomes your strength and peace becomes your power. It shakes him because that's when he realizes he's lost all access to you. And that's a feeling no man is ever prepared for. That's why walking away without making a scene is the greatest way to confuse a man who hurt you. While he's expecting you to fall apart, you're quietly putting yourself back together. While he's waiting for you to reach out, you're too busy leveling up to even think about him. And by the time he finally realizes what he had, You're already so far ahead in life that you don't even care whether he regrets it or not. This is why silence is powerful. It forces reflection. It forces realization. It forces a man to face the truth of what he lost without you ever having to say a word. And when he finally understands the weight of his actions, when it dawns on him that he let go of something rare, something valuable, something he may never find again, that's when it truly hits him. Not because you told him, not because you tried to make him see, but because you removed yourself completely and let reality do the talking. No explanations, no second chances, no back and forth. Just a woman who knows her worth and refuses to entertain anything that doesn't align with it. And when you move like that, there's nothing more powerful, nothing more confusing, and nothing more unforgettable. See, men always think they have time to play games, time to take you for granted, time to come back when they feel like it. They assume that no matter what they do, you'll always be there, waiting, hoping, holding on to the idea that one day they'll finally get it together. But what they don't realize is that a wise woman, a woman who knows her worth, isn't waiting for anyone to decide when she deserves to be treated right. She's not giving unlimited chances. She's not sitting around hoping he'll wake up and see her value. She's already moved forward before he even realizes what he lost. And that's what truly shakes a man. The moment he understands that you were never an option, you were the opportunity. Instead of begging him to treat you right, instead of trying to prove your worth, you took your power back. Because a man expects to come and go as he pleases. He assumes that even if he hurts you, he can always return, convinced you'll always have a soft spot for him. And most of the time, that's true. Until a woman finally decides she's done playing that game. That's when everything shifts. That's when panic sets in. Because a man who thinks he has time will always take you for granted. But a man who realizes he's out of time, that's when regret hits. That's when he starts replaying every moment, thinking about everything he should have done differently. That's when he finally sees you the way he should have from the beginning. But by then, it's too late. Because by then, you're no longer the woman who would have taken him back. You're no longer the woman waiting by the phone, hoping he'll change his mind. You've become the woman who has grown past him, who has healed, who has elevated to a level he can no longer reach. This is why men always come back when you finally move on. Not when you cry, not when you argue, not when you try to make them see their mistake, but when you genuinely no longer care. When your energy is no longer attached to them, when your focus shifts completely toward yourself, your happiness, and your future. That's when it hits them. That's when they realize they miscalculated. But by the time he understands that he lost a good woman, you've already become a great one. That's the thing about time. You don't waste it on people who can't see your worth. You don't give it to someone who doesn't value it. Because the moment you take your time, your love, and your energy away from the wrong person, you create space for the right one to find you. And that's when you truly win. One of the biggest mistakes people make after getting hurt is believing that revenge will bring closure. That if they make the other person feel the same pain, if they show them what they lost, if they somehow make them regret it, they'll finally feel free. But the truth is, revenge doesn't heal you. It keeps you tied to the very person who broke you. And the longer you stay connected to that energy, the longer you delay your own peace. When someone does you wrong, the first instinct is to strike back, to prove you're unbroken. You think about posting something to make them jealous, flirting with someone new just to prove a point, or showing the world that you've moved on. But all of that still gives them power, because if you truly didn't care, you wouldn't need to prove it. You'd be too busy living. The real flex isn't revenge, it's peace. Not because you're weak, not because you're letting them get away with it, but because you finally understand that your energy is too valuable to waste on someone who never appreciated it. When you choose peace, you take back control. You decide that no one else will dictate your happiness. You make the choice to put yourself first, to protect your mind, your emotions, and your peace. You walk away without resentment, and that's what truly confuses the one who thought they had power over you. because people expect anger. They expect pettiness. They expect drama. That's what they're prepared for. But when you don't give them that, when you don't engage, when you don't let their actions disrupt your focus, they start questioning everything. They wonder why you're so calm, why you're not trying to prove a point, why you're not trapped in the same cycle of chaos they tried to pull you into. And that's when it hits them. They never had the control they thought they did. Choosing peace isn't about ignoring your pain or pretending you weren't hurt. It's about deciding that your healing matters more than your ego. It's about realizing that what's meant for you will never require you to lose yourself to keep it. It's about making room for better things in your life by letting go of people who no longer deserve a place in it. Because at the end of the day, true power isn't in revenge. It's in walking away from what no longer serves you and never looking back. And when you move like that, when you carry yourself with grace instead of anger, you don't just heal, you elevate. And that right there is a level most people will never be able to reach.